Hello, fellow carnivores. We're going to talk salt. First off, do we need salt as a supplement on the carnivore diet? I would say no, but a lot of us do put it on. There's some of us that do not salt our food. Quite a few carnivores don't. Dr. Chafee doesn't, Steak and Butter Gal doesn't, and I know a few other YouTubers. Then there's a whole slew of like some of the hardcore folks on Reddit and everything else that don't. So this is a purely personal thing. I am going to test no salt. I salt to taste. When I prep my food and I have a couple bites with no salt, I just decide if I want a little bit on there or not. But also almost all my meat, I dry brine with these salts. So they're already salted some, and often I don't have to put on more. And if I do, I use these guys, which are a finishing salt. So, do we need salt? I'm going to say, yeah, it's a fun thing to have. Adds a little flavor, adds a little taste. I guess the pink and Himalayan salt, and actually it's just pink salt because it's not really from the Himalayas. It's from a province about 100 miles down. I guess the pink is actually from iron. But this is probably my number one go-to for salt. It's just the Costco pink salt. I forgot to work it out per ounce, but $7.99 last time I bought this for 5 pounds. So that's 2.27 kilograms for my metric friends. Yeah, just cheap stuff, and it's great. And I use it overall quite a bit, and I just have it out basically in a shaker. I should have brought the shaker out here. It's just a standard kind of salt shaker. The other two ones that I use the most are these two. I would say this one is my second right here, is this. The Maldon Smoked Salt. In my opinion, if I could only have two salts, it would be the Maldon and the pink Himalayan. But as you can see, I don't have to have just two salts, so I don't. And this is what I do. I just have this out all the time. My boy and I use it. The family uses it. I would say my boy and I use this the most. And then the sea salt, again, I just have these containers. They're originally from IKEA, but I really like them. Easy to get into and everything else. So I've had Redmonds before, and I actually prefer the flavor of this, the texture of this, everything about the Costco. So if you are a Redmonds fan, hey, more power to you, get it. But I know it's quite expensive, and I don't really feel it offers anything better or different than this that I get. So again, that's just a personal choice. So the Maldon Smoked Salt, to give you an idea, I do have links down below for it. And they are affiliate links. If you don't mind, help me out. Appreciate it. This stuff was running, when I looked it up today making this video, $16.89 for 1.1 pounds or 500 grams. So about 96 cents an ounce. The regular Maldon salt is $24.78. And it's basically just over 3 pounds. Or 1.4 kilograms, so it's about 50 cents an ounce for that. Now, the next salt I use a lot of is the SanFrancisco Salt. I tend to use cherry or apple for my lamb, or if I'm going to do pork. And then the hickory, I tend to do, this is cherry, this is the hickory. I tend to do hickory on the regular beef. So that's just kind of a preference. As of basically this, as of right now as I write this, this is for the alder. And I don't have the alder out here, but I have a big bag of alder. And I actually have one of these things of alder because I use the alder quite a bit. It's just my favorite. One thing, alder for smoked salmon or salmon is so good. Like alder smoked salmon to me is the best. Or putting alder smoked salmon, alder smoked salt on salmon is my favorite way when I do the salmon. So this stuff runs for 2 pounds, which is about 907 grams, again, for the metric folks, 47 cents an ounce. I didn't convert what the price is to metric, but you get an idea. You can buy 5-pound bags. They're about $28.34 of writing. About 2.27 kilograms or 35 cents an ounce. So it brings it down. My number one that I use nowadays for dry brining my food, which is salting the steak, salting the meat, putting it on a rack and then on a sheet pan so it doesn't drip. Stick it in the fridge for 2 days. That's my preference, 1 to 2 days. And then cook it. It dries it out. The salt goes in, get a better crust. I like the flavor, texture, everything else better. So that's something that I use. I do not like putting these directly on meat because it tastes like smoked salt on meat. There's just something about it that just tastes like seasoning that you add to meat. And I don't do any seasonings on my meat. I only use salt. This, on the other hand, something about this, I don't know if it's the sea salt in there or just that it's a very mild flavor. No issues. I can put this directly on meat and it's awesome. So it's not like any other smoked salt I've had, and the texture is totally unique to it and everything else. So I've also have the Redmond's real salts, and the bags, the little Ziplocs on all 3 of my bags basically broke right away. And this is the Redmond's real salt. To give you an idea, when, again, the time of this video, $16.39 for 14 ounces, or $1.17 an ounce. So that's 397 grams. To me, when this stuff is like quite a bit cheaper, 2 to over 3 times cheaper, and to me, I actually prefer these, again, flavor-wise, over those. But if you like the Redmonds, go for it. The Chef's Blend, this is cherry, again, so that's for my lamb and stuff like that. The Chef's Blend is, see if I can get this to focus. The Chef's Blend, and you can look it up, is really mild. It's actually a pretty good, if you're only going to get one, start with that. And if you want something stronger, you know, get the hickory or the cherry or whatever else. This isn't too bad for just, if you do put it on, it doesn't have quite as much smoked flavor as the other two. But again, I just don't like it because this stuff just rocks. So I did do something here with a little video of the salt on a plate, and I'm going to show you this. So this is the size of the grains. This is the tip of my chopstick. But this is the smoked Maldon salt, and it's just these huge crunchy flakes. This is the regular Maldon salt, and this is the pink Himalayan salt that you can see. Now this is the fine SanFrancisco, and this is the coarse grain SanFrancisco. I've always gotten a mix. I've gotten the coarse grain and the hickory for the larger cuts of meat, but I'm actually going to switch to the fine because I think I like it more. And I'm also going to try something where I put it in a blender and basically turn it to like a powder salt and then dry brine it with that, and just to play around and see what I think. And this is the Redmond salt. So you can see the Redmond salt has fairly good size grain. Obviously more than the Himalayan Pink and not as much. It's kind of in between the two SanFrancisco salts. But again, my favorite, man, this stuff, when you get to play with this Maldon salt and touch it in your fingers, it's just amazing stuff. Amazing, amazing stuff. So anyway, that is the salt that I have, the salt that I use. Again, if I could only have two, it would be this one and this one. And if I could only have three, it would be the 2 tubs of Maldon and my pink Himalayan, and then I would get these. And for me, I probably will never rebuy these. But again, they're good salts. If you're a Redmond fan, go for it. Otherwise, the SanFrancisco, great price. Use it for dry brining. I do not put it on food. I can put the smoked Maldon on food. Now, one thing I did is I looked up and I found something that I thought was kind of interesting. And it's this right here, where I have this analysis of Himalayan salt. And I'll leave links to these below. Basically, it was a spectral analysis of all the minerals, as you can see it, that are in Himalayan salt. And I know Redmond's is very, very close to the Himalayan, so I'm never saying that it's not, because I know there's a lot of Redmond's fans out there. But the list is pretty interesting from the actual analysis, just how much is in, the pink salt as I scroll through. And again, I'll have links to that. And then as far as the sea salt, this was another one where I had this sea salt and I found a spectral analysis PDF on this of everything that it has, which was actually more than I thought. So it actually has quite a bit of stuff and just, a little bit different kind of things. And again, links will be to these. So to me, I still take salt for the minerals. I've only taken electrolytes 1 month. I got 1 month worth of electrolytes. This was a couple of years ago when I took them, and I noticed no difference. When I started working out more, I had leg cramps a couple nights, and I'd run downstairs, get a pinch or two of Himalayan salt, put it in my mouth, have a glass of water, and my cramps would go away. And I only had that 2 or 3 days in my calves when I was really pushing my calves, kind of when I was first starting. And since then, I haven't had it. So I'm not a big electrolyte person. I don't think they're bad. I think if you want to do them and you feel better, go for it. I would say try not to do them, see if you notice a difference. And it's just, to me, it's just making things easier, cutting things out. I'm not ever a person that thinks I have to take something. If I do take something, it's because I'm testing it just to see if it does make me perform a little better. And if it doesn't, to me, I just don't bother. So again, hope you enjoyed this little bit of stuff. Stay carnivorous, my friends, and a hui ho. Oh, and you might want to check out this video, or it will be that video. I'll say check out this video that YouTube thinks you'll like.